afternoon to one and all. Myself, Juli Yadav. I am Assistant Professor in CSE Department in Ajay Kumar Garg Engineering College, Ghaziabad. So today's topic of presentation is software agents. Basically, why we are talking about the agents. Generally, when we are thinking about agent, then there can be n number of agents. The human agent, robotic agent, software agent. Here we are talking about software agent. What does this software agent is? So the software agents are generally those agents that has been manufactured by the human being or by any other agent. For example, the software agent can also be called as an intelligent agent. So to create those intelligent agents, we need an architecture. So what does this architecture is? Basically, the architecture is the design, the methodology that has been used to construct that particular agent. Means on what basis or what type of functions that particular agent has to perform, that is called as the architecture. So what does this agent architecture is? So the agent architecture, like software architecture, are formally a description of the element from which a system is built and the manner in which they communicate. So basically, why there is a need of architecture? If there is a single agent, then there is no need of communication. But when we are talking about multiple agents, means there are n number of artificial agents that are communicating with each other to perform a task or to solve any particular problem by taking a certain decision. So to make them, or so that they can have a better communication and coordination between those agents, there is a need of agent architecture. So the agent architecture is the area, or we can say it is the system that is built in such a manner so that all the agents that are present in that particular communication system can communicate with each other in an efficient manner and can also share their views, their beliefs, their desires to get the particular conclusion of that particular problem. So these elements can be defined from pattern which specifies some sort of constraints. What does this constraint is? Constraint is basically a number of common architecture exist that go by the name pipeline or filter or layered architecture. Basically, the architecture is of two types. The one is pipe and filtered architecture, or another one is the layered architecture. Piped and filter architecture, I will define them later. So these define the interconnection between the components, or it define the interconnection between or the communication between those components. So what does this pipe and filter define? Architecture means the pipe and filter architecture defines a model where data is moved through a set of one or more objects that perform a transformation. So basically, in the piped and filtered, it is a model where the data has been moved through a set of one or more object. Means if it is needed by more than two objects, then how does it has to be moved? So in pipeline and pipe and filter architecture, it tells or it defines how it will move from one object to another for the transformation. Another one is the layered architecture. Layered architecture is simply, it means that the system is comprises of set of layers. Means in layered architecture there are some set of layers that has a specific logical functionality. Means every layer has some different functionality. So when we are using a layered architecture that provide a specific set of logical functionality, then it uses the connectivity that commonly restrict to particular layer that are contiguous to one another. So basically in layered architecture, what we do, or what does this layered architecture or why there is a need of layered architecture. The layered architecture is needed because at every layer, different functionality has been assigned. If an agent work or number of agents work and they use the layer architecture, then every layer has its defined functionality, which is known by each and every agent that are present in that particular architecture. So this is about the architecture or different types of architecture. Now we are going to, I'm going to tell you about different types of agents architecture. What are the types of agents and their architecture? So it is basically the agent architecture is defined on the basis of goal, for what purpose that particular agent has been designed. So that is depend upon the goal for which that particular agent has been designed. A variety of agent architecture exists to help. So to maintain or to make the agent work smoothly, there are different types of agent architecture that help a smooth conduct of interconnection or communication between the different agents. Some of the major architecture type and applications for which they can be used are here. The first one is the reactive architecture. These six are the types of architecture. First is the reactive architecture, then it's deliberative architecture, blackboard architecture, belief, desire, intention architecture, hybrid architecture, and the last one is the mobile architecture. So let me explain you the all the architectures with one by one. So first one, let me talk about the reactive architecture. What does this reactive architecture is? Basically, reactive architecture is the architecture or is the framework in which an agent has been designed so that it can react. From the words we can get that the architecture is reactive architecture that reacts if it sends something. So basically, the reactive architecture is the simplest architecture for every agent. Among all the architectures that I have just specified, this is the most and this is the very simple architecture, that is the reactive architecture. So in this architecture, basically the agent behavior are simple and mapping between stimulus and its response. What does it mean? The agent behavior means if the agent is performing any type of task. For example, if the agent is a robot that is for box picking and dropping, that has been designed for box pick and drop purpose. So when how the agent work, if we have designed that agent in by using the reactive architecture, then how it works? As it stimulus means as it sends whatever it sends. What does it has to be sensed? It has to sense the box, only then it can perform the action. So when it sends there is a box, that it have what actions it need to be performed. It just pick that box, and then what it has to be done, that depends upon the response. It has to pick and then place, or it has to pick and drop to some other location. So this is the this architecture is basically the reactive architecture. As this agent has no decision making skills, means the reactive agent generally reactive architecture generally used when there is a predefined actions for that particular there are some predefined reactions for particular action. Then we use then that is the reactive architecture, because there is no decision making. Means whatever the agent sends, it does not apply any logic, or it does not keep on thinking or keep on analyzing the thing. It doesn't do that in reactive architecture. It basically, what does it do? It just sends, and then it checks in its memory or in its database what it has to be performed. Means it does map the action with the reaction, and then just it's perform it perform the action. So the agent has no decision making skills. It does not take decisions. It has just to react whatever it sends. Only reactions to the environment in which it exists. It just react to the environment in which it exists. The agent simply read the environment. I have just gave you the example of robot box picking. What does it sense? Whatever it sense in the environment, its main purpose is to pick the box and drop to some other location. So for that agent, the agent simply read the environment, means it search for the box and then map the state of the environment to one or more action, whether to keep that box to some other box or to some other location. It just map those actions and their reactions, and then it perform actions according to those. So the main advantage of this architecture is they are extremely fast. Why they are fast? Because whatever they sense, they just react without even applying their own logic or applying their own intelligence. They just react on that particular environment, whatever they sense. So that's why they are extremely fast. So this kind of architecture can be implemented easily in hardware as well as in software also. So here is the diagram that tells a reactive agent architecture. This has an environment from where it has to sense or it has to analyze the thing to react upon those things. So how it works? So reactive architecture, whenever it sends something, it just map. Suppose I just saw a punching machine. So what my action is, I have just to punch. So in the same way, reactive architecture just sends the thing and then it map whatever it perceive. Means whatever it perceive, it check key on that perception what action it has to be taken, and then if the the sensing matches with the mapping, then it correspondence react or act upon the environment by using the actuators. So in this way, how the reactive agent architecture works, it just sense and then react without even thinking of any decision or any analysis. It just react whatever it sends. So the another architecture is deliberative architecture. It is little bit better than the previous. Actually, I cannot say that this one is better. Every architecture is itself a good piece of architecture. The another architecture is deliberative architecture. It just works without even performing on the environment. It just analyze the things, whether if it is taking this action, then what reaction could be there. It just analyze, means it uses its decision making skill to take the action. So a deliberative architecture, as the name implies, is one that include some deliberation over the action to perform given the current set of inputs. As the word implies, deliberation means according to the action it performs. There can be n number of states or n number of inputs or n number of output for that particular action. So it uses deliberative architecture when we use the decision making ability of any agent to take the actions. So instead of making the sensor directly to the actuators, as we have done in the previous architecture, we just sense and then react or the act upon the environment. So the deliberative architecture considers the sensors. It uses the sensors to sense the environment, but during sensor there are many different states. If it senses this, then there can be the other state. Suppose I am sensing something is in front of me, but what I cannot pick it, right? Why? Because I have to analyze my thinking whether it can be a bomb. So, in that type of architecture in which we are using our own decision making ability or decision making skills, then this architecture is known as the deliberative architecture. It has many number of sensors, states, and there can be prior results of given action. Means there can be intermediate results before taking any action, right? So and other information in order to select the best action to perform. So there can be many number of states, and every state has an output. So that output can be used as an input for the next state, or that cannot be the better output or better result. It can choose the another output, and then after analyzing all the things and all the abilities, after analyzing everything, it just gives the output. So the deliberative architecture mechanism is based on the selection as it is undefined. So action doesn't perform on the basis of any particular sensing. It performs the action after analyzing the prior results of those actions. So it has advantage. The advantage of deliberative architecture is that it can be used to solve a much more complex problem than the reactive architecture, as the reactive architecture cannot solve the problems that are more complex. For example, if there is a bomb placed in front of us, then if the agent is based on reactive architecture, what does it do? If something is in front of me, it maps with its memory, and action is either pick or throw somewhere, right? This is the work of the reactive architecture. But in deliberative architecture, what does it do? It cannot pick if something is placed or some object is placed in front of me. It analyzes whether to pick or to throw or to call someone. It analyzes and then it takes the action. So basically, this deliberative architecture is used when the problem is complex. Then we use deliberative architecture. While in the reactive architecture, we use sensing and then action. So as it is used for complex problems, so it can perform a planning. There can be a sequence number of actions that can be helped to achieve a goal in an efficient manner, right? So it has some disadvantages too. The first disadvantage is, if we are comparing reactive architecture and deliberative architecture, that it is slightly slower than the reactive architecture. Why it is slower? Because of its deliberation for the action to select. That's why it is slow. Another disadvantage of this architecture is that they can apply only to a complex environment, not for the simple environment, right? And the sequence of action require the presence of state which is not encoded into the map function. Basically, when we are making the agent based on the deliberative architecture, then it the architecture or the functionality does not in the manner like if we are sensing something, then map with some sort of function and then perform. It uses and it applies its decision making skills. So here is an example, or here is the architecture. It shows state, knowledge and goals. Basically, state in which the it is the state in which the agent is currently in, and there can be a number of states. Mean, if I'm in this state, then can be in another state and can be in another state, because I have just told you there can be n number of states or sequence of states that we need to follow to achieve a goal, right? Then there is a knowledge, means whatever the knowledge that particular agent has, it applies all those knowledge to to perform or to solve that complex problem. Then its goal. So the goal is basically for what purpose that particular agent has been designed. That is their goal. Means from its initial state to its goal state, how it can be reached. So all the information, all these information about the states, from this states to next state to next state, this as well as the knowledge that it has been used to take the actions, as well as what is their goal that they has to be achieved. So all these three things has to be considered in their action while they're selecting their action. So what does the agent do? Agent sense from the environment, and in the previous architecture it just mapped the action. Here it uses all the three factors, that is state, knowledge and goal. Then it acts, then it decides what action it has to be taken, and then it, to by the use of actuators, it perform the action on the environment. So in this way, the difference is deliberative is totally based on decision making skills. Means it has the, this agent has the ability to think, to analyze, and it can react on the real time problems or real time solutions also. Whereas the reactive, they just sense and then react. They does not use their mental ability or their states to make any kind of decision. So the next architecture is the blackboard architecture. Basically, the blackboard architecture is also known as the blackboard system. It is a problem solving approach that utilizes a modular and decentralized framework. Basically, the blackboard architecture, its main use is in generally a multi-agent system where there are multiple agents are there to solve any kind of complex problem. Then we so to make a smooth communication between those agents, we need a blackboard architecture, as the name suggests, blackboard. So they use the main feature of this architecture is they use the blackboard. On that blackboard, they just wrote the problem. Even every agent from that particular multi-agent system wrote the solution, whatever the solution it get from that particular problem, so that other agents who are sitting in the multi-agent system to solve that particular problem can use the result of that particular agent to find the results for further problem, or can get the idea of how they has to find the solution for that particular problem. So basically, it is the effective to solve complex problem that lack a well-defined algorithm or a predetermined architecture. So basically, this architecture is used when there is when other architectures doesn't work, like deliberative or reactive architecture. When they stop working, then this architecture is used. So blackboard architecture is basically inspired by human expertise in collaborating and solving different problems by sharing information and contributing their expertise. I have just told you, they just wrote whatever the information they have, whatever the solution they find, they just wrote on the blackboard so that others can use those expertise. So here are some of the steps that need to be followed by the blackboard architecture agent. First one is initialization, in which it initializes the problem statement and all the available inputs that are there for solving that particular problem. Then activation, this is the state that controllers select and activate one and more knowledge sources. It is the state in which the knowledge sources has been activated. Then execution is they use the knowledge to find the solution for that particular problem. Then conflict resolution, there can be conflict as there is a multiple agent system, so there can be conflict. So conflict resolution is also there. Then update, so every output is updated on the blackboard so that it can be used by other agents. Then iteration, the process continues until we find the appropriate solution. So there are some other architectures also that are BDI, mobile and hybrid architecture. I will discuss them in my next video. Thank you so much.